We have like this social and cultural expectation that we have to be able to do everything, to support everyone, and to be there to basically deal with anything.
I am Lucia Gallegos, and this is Flowers in Winter.
Hello again, my name is Lucia Gallegos, and I'm a registered psychotherapist here in Ontario. And I'm happy that you're here with me in this podcast called Flowers in Winter, a podcast where I talk about women and mental health. And for today's topic, please stay around. I will be talking about 5 different strategies to build emotional resilience. And just a reminder that this podcast has the purpose to provide information on mental health and is not intended to be a substitute for a mental health professional advice. So if you feel that you would like to explore any of these topics further, please always seek guidance of a mental health professional advisor. So let's first start to identify what's emotional resilience. So it's that ability to adapt to different life challenges because life happens and it's not going to be always like really quiet and nice. Most of the time, life is like a roller coaster with different situations. So emotional resilience is that ability to be able to adapt to those changes and recover from setbacks. I like to use this example as a metaphor. Imagine you're in the ocean and there are days that probably are really sunny and beautiful and you're eager to go and sail and you find that it's peaceful and you feel with energy. And in that same ocean, in that same spot, another day comes and brings a storm with it. So you see rippling huge waves, you feel cold, there is no control, you cannot see anything. It's just happening many things at the same time. The emotional resilience is not about not having those days or avoiding those days, but more about how can we navigate those days, not feeling that we're not strong or that we're not enough to deal with that. So that's important to keep in mind. So keep that in mind when we're talking about emotional resilience. Now, why women? We find it really hard to build emotional resilience. Many things. In most cases, women, we have like this social and cultural expectation that we have to be able to do everything, to support everyone, and to be there to basically deal with anything. So that's a lot to handle. But somehow we feel that we need to be strong. And sometimes we kind of get confused with what exactly means to build emotional resilience versus I have to be strong for others. And I see that a lot in the office when I'm working with other women, that they feel like, Lucia, I'm not enough. I need to do more. I need to provide more. I'm not strong enough. I'm having these emotions. And that's when I try to slow down and say, okay, let's for a moment, just for a moment, make sure to identify your thoughts about what emotional resilience is. Because there are really high expectations from others that we as women, we feel the necessity to feel. And because this is so confusing, sometimes women believe that being a superwoman equals being emotionally resilient. That's not the case. Why? Okay, superwoman. We believe, if you think with this perspective, that there is no room for self-care because we have to do everything and we have to achieve external expectation, also internal expectation then come from external purposes, if that makes sense. We just focus on, I need to complete this. I need to be strong. We feel guilt whenever we set boundaries because, well, superwomen, they do not complain. They do not ask for support. They just go, go, go and achieve. And you have to achieve, because if you do not do that, you're not a good woman. So that's kind of the mindset. Then on the other hand, what exactly means to be emotional resilient? That's a different thing. It's that ability to be able to identify the vulnerability, the challenges, how to adapt to those, and also important, what strategies I can use, and recognize a support network, either by family, friends, or your community. That's important. Superwoman is like, yes, I'm going to be able to do that by myself. I'm going to be happy that I did it myself. Building emotional resilience is that ability to be kind to yourself and to identify those challenges with kindness and compassion, and knowing how and when to ask for help. And it's not only about knowing when to ask for help. Another important thing here is to be able to set healthy boundaries. And I see that a lot when I'm working with clients, especially women's. We normally learn that setting boundaries maybe make us a bad person, because, like I said before, sometimes being a woman is identified with being the support network of everyone at any time. Like I always say, if you're gonna be there for someone and you kind of like be a 50% for that person, or you're 80% for that person, I also want you, and I'm gonna encourage you to do the same thing for you. And to allow yourself to feel vulnerable. That does not make you a weak person. Remember, the emotions, it's like the thermometer. It tells us what's happening inside and how we feel. So that's why building emotional resilience is basically focused on building that compassion. And I remember once working with this beautiful woman. She was a professional in her area. She also had two little kids. And also her father was in a challenging situation in terms of health. So this person, when she started therapy, she came because she wanted to be able to provide more to her family. And when I asked her about, okay, so how do you take care of yourself? Her answer was like, what do you mean? I mean, I cannot do that because I have to be there for others. And when we feel under a lot of stress, and this is not an easy situation, it's a really challenging situation, right? You have to take care of your kids, then also you have to take care of your parents as well, or another family member, and at the same time you have to work, and to be a good professional at work, in every area you want to be perfect. That's gonna basically trigger stress and cortisol 24/7. And no room for saying, okay, how can I get help? How can I feel supported? How can I find different ways not to decrease probably in those situations the stress level, but how can I make sure that I feel that there are tools there for me to help me to go with it? Because sometimes we have this mindset of saying, if I cannot do this perfectly, I'm not good enough. And emotional resilience tells us, stop there, make contact with you, identify your emotions without judgment, allow them to be, process the emotions, be kind to yourself, and whenever and you feel like, share it with others, connect with your community. So, okay, so what we can do with that? How can we build this emotional resilience? Well, the number one is one of the most difficult for some people, for some of my clients, rest and sleep. Sounds easy, but sometimes when we need to execute this, it's difficult. Because sometimes we do not get enough sleep, either because we feel stressed or either because we have a different schedule or agenda, for a number of reasons. That's sometimes really difficult. But if we do not get a good night's sleep, we're not going to be able to work fine the next day. And we might be to start experience burnout. So what exactly means to rest and to sleep? Yes, to have a time to go to bed and a time to wake up. Even those on the weekends, it's important for your body to function. If we do not sleep, the body, it's going to keep the score. So that's number one. Number two, practice mindfulness. Be present. Whenever we're in a challenging situation, normally we're not in present time. We're either in the past, and that's where we experience depression, or we're thinking in the future in catastrophic thinking, and that's when most of the time we experience anxiety. Be mindful, bring your attention to the present time, use your senses. Touch the grass, feel the cold, or feel the hot water. Take time to drink something, smell something, practice meditation. And some of my clients say, Lucia, that's really difficult. It's really not easy. My mind is running. That's what's going to happen. Just practice 5 minutes a day. And that's enough to start. But just be mindful. Bring your attention back to the present. We cannot control basically anything. However, we can control where we want to bring our attention. Now, build supportive connections. And this means to be able to identify and to set boundaries to those toxic relationships. And to be able to support and to allow yourself to feel supported by other communities of your family and friends. It is important that you have a time where you meet with other people, either just let's go and grab some coffee, or let's just go and go for a walk, or just talk about something that you feel interested about. Social interaction is vital. It's important that you do not feel lonely. Sometimes we have this belief that, other people might not be there for me, but we somehow believe that we can be for other people. So if you're for other people, it's important that you also have your support network. Now, the fourth one is physical exercise. Yes. Move your body. Maybe it's a time for yourself. Like in my case, whenever I go to the gym, or whenever I go for a walk, or whenever I go to my yoga classes, those three activities are always in my calendar. That's when I feel that I can connect with myself. And I do those activities because I enjoy those activities. For instance, I do not like to play tennis. That's something that I will not do it. But I like these other three that I mentioned earlier. And the reason I like them is because how my body feels with the boost of endorphins is just great. Like starting my day after I get energized and I feel connecting with myself, it's a must in my daily activities. I wouldn't be able to work with other people, work with my clients, if I don't feel energized and if I don't build that connection and that support network. So that's important. Find something that you feel encouraged to do it and move your body. You will feel the endorphins and that will make a huge difference. And the last one is to practice self-compassion. And this one also, when I share this with my clients, they're like, yeah, Lucia, but I do not feel compassion towards myself. And that's okay. The beauty of it is that we can build compassion. It's something that we practice. It's something that we build every day, the way we talk to ourselves. Because sometimes we have this inner critical voice that is really hard on us. But we can also kind of develop and to build this other voice that is really kind and compassionate and talk to us from that perspective as well. It takes time and it's something that we have to build, like building muscle, for instance. So it's the perfect time to start doing that. So I really hope that you found these practices useful. So use them, allow yourself to feel vulnerable, but always try to find a support network and practice. We can build compassion, and that's something that we have to build every day. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I'm happy that you were here today with me. Enjoy the rest of your day or your night or your morning, and see you next time here in Flowers in Winter.
Flowers in Winter is a podcast by Lucia Gallegos, music by Rosy Cervantes. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook as Lucia Therapy.